First 3-year deal. In July 2019, 3 years, $103 million. Signed as a free agent after leaving Toronto, included a player option after the second season. August of 2021, he re-upped 4 years, $176.3 million, which was a maximum contract. Opted out of his previous deal and re-signed with the Clippers despite recovering from a torn ACL. Included a player option in the fourth year. January of 2024, 3-year deal, $149.5 million. This was a veteran extension, but of course it wasn't the absolute maximum he was eligible to receive. Leonard accepted slightly less than the full max to provide the Clippers additional financial flexibility. And I guess we're supposed to applaud him for that. This is the same dude that blackmailed the Clippers. This is the same dude that in July of 2019 arrived only after telling them, get Paul George or else I'm going to take my talents to the Los Angeles Lakers. And because of that, the Clippers ended up trading about 4 or 5 picks along with Danilo Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in order to get Kawhi Leonard to come on board. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. These are the kind of things that you have to pay attention to when you're thinking about Kawhi Leonard. And inexplicably, for some reason, the Los Angeles Clippers still made it a point to pay him one contract after another, despite about 30-plus games missed, 30-plus% of his games missed during the regular season, and just as much, if not even more, during the postseason. They still haven't been to an NBA Finals. The conference finals that they went to against Phoenix years ago in 2021 was without him because he was hurt again. And somehow, some way, he's milked the franchise for all it's worth. I have said this before, and I'll say this again. You want the definition of a masterclass? Let me tell you something. Kawhi Leonard getting paid without going to work, that brother could give lessons. He could give lessons. I mean, he's spectacular with that stuff. He's spectacular. I mean, he's so good at it, I want to get lessons from him my damn self. And I like working. But my God, the time this man gets off, and then to turn around, and to still get paid, and to still get one new contract after another, that's bad enough. But then when you hear that you got deals on the side that allow the salary cap to be circumvented, ladies and gentlemen, that's the big story here. Because guess what it means? If it started with him, or it had happened with him, chances are it didn't start with him. Chances are something's going on. And it could open a whole Pandora's box involving the NBA that's going to be uncomfortable for everybody to see. Anonymous source. What did the anonymous source say to the one and only Pablo Torre? The sponsorship deal was 1,000% a way to circumvent the salary cap. It was funneling money from the Clippers through Daktronics back to Kawhi Leonard. That's according to an anonymous source. And I can't wait to talk to Pablo Torre about this, because let me tell you something right now. If this is true, this is some award-winning stuff he's pulling off. If it's true, this is some award-winning stuff. Because it's raising the proverbial eyebrow about everything now, about everybody now. If you could get an owner or a team to sign off on making those kind of concessions, taking those kind of risks in potential violation of a salary cap, of NBA league rules. If you could get somebody to do that for Kawhi Leonard, well, hell, who the hell can't you get him to do it for? That can ball in the league, because we all know he's a superstar caliber talent when he's healthy. Who else can you get them to do it for? I mean, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want anybody incriminated falsely. I don't want their names thrown up into the mix, but use your imagination. If anybody is willing to go to these lengths for Kawhi Leonard, What won't you do for a bevy of other teams in the NBA? For a bevy of other players, in the NBA. I don't want to believe this is true. I happen to be very fond of Steve Ballmer. I happen to be very fond of the Clippers organization. But this is serious business. Because if there's truth to this story, I know Adam Silver is not David Stern. He prides himself on being a bit more player friendly. But he's going to have to bring a heavy hand down. And it's not just against Steve Ballmer, the owner. It's going to be against Kawhi Leonard. You're talking about potential banishment for a year or something like that by a player or an owner. You're talking about the confiscation of draft picks. You're talking about dissuasive measures being implemented to ensure that no team nor any player is willing to risk doing something like this again. That's what you're talking about here. Kawhi Leonard's deal with aspiration was for $28 million. We don't know what the deal was for Daktronics. This is not good. This is not good at all. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. It's 888-623-3646. That's one story I'm going to get into. I'm going to get into Jaylen Brown in a little bit. And what he had to say in his introductory press conference as the newest member of the Philadelphia 76ers. Not the newest because he came before LeBron. But you know what I'm saying. And some of the things he didn't say. And some of the things people are speculating about because of what he didn't say. And what the relationship with Jason Tatum is like. I don't know. But it has to be broached. Because there's certain things that have been left out. And that's going to lend itself to the discussion that I'm going to have with my man Mike Wilbon, who wants to swear up and down that, whether it's me or anybody else, we're a show, or him, we're a show, as opposed to journalists. I'd say we're both, but that's me. My team in any second now is going to let me know when we have Pablo Torre on the line, because I believe he's ready to go right now. Again, he's my next guest. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and television host, best known for his investigative podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out, on Meadowlark Media. Please welcome back to the show, the one and only Pablo Torre. What's going on, Pablo? How are you, man? How's everything?
Stephen A., it's been a delight to hear you process what we've been reporting all day, and so thank you for asking me on the show.
Well, let me tell you something. You can give credit to everybody else all you want to. Damn it, I'm giving credit right to you. This is your work, my brother. Let me tell you something. We don't know if it's true or not. We're leaning on your reporting, but I got to tell you, if this stuff is true, this is definitely award-winning stuff. Make no mistake about it. And props to you for getting the information out that you've gotten out. Talk to us about this right now. Kawhi Leonard and Daktronics. What is the exact allegation potentially being levied against Kawhi Leonard, and to what extent do you believe, if this information proves to be true, that it's going to harm him and the Clippers organization?
This is a hidden multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal, according to two high-level sources who worked with the Clippers. The first source as a person under contract at a high level with the Intuit Dome build-out and construction. The second person, a former Clippers executive. And what they say is that this is a deal in which Kawhi Leonard, had a multi-million-dollar arrangement as a sponsor for Daktronics, which is, for people who don't know, the manufacturer of the Jumbotron at the Intuit Dome, the famous Halo board, which was a 9-figure project, reportedly $100 million is what it cost to build that thing. But the thing about this deal, of course, Stephen A., is that according to my reporting, this is the second hidden sponsorship deal where there is no evidence that Kawhi Leonard publicly has done anything, and more to the point, this deal was never announced either. So Aspiration, a $28 million contract plus $20 million in equity in that company, guaranteed to Kawhi Leonard for him to do nothing. That was never announced. This is now the second direct tie between the Clippers and a team partner, Daktronics, and Kawhi Leonard, with the express intent, according to my reporting, of circumventing the NBA salary cap. And so what does that mean? We know that Adam Silver previously has said that the salary cap, as you know, is the cardinal rule of the NBA. This is collectively bargained. This is a thing that all owners, in theory, have to abide by. And so to have these allegations existing concurrently It amounts to the largest alleged cap circumvention scheme in the history of professional sports, at least in America. That's the scale of what we're talking about.
Pablo, was Kawhi Leonard under any obligation to divulge this information, according to your reporting?
So Wachtell Lipton, the law firm at the NBA, has hired to do their investigation. This is something that they would have the power to ask Kawhi Leonard, and he would be under some obligation as an NBA employee to divulge. So that's from the backstage proceedings around can the information be given to league investigators. In terms of should he say this to the public as it was happening in real time, I think the question that should be asked is, why would a company pay him, allegedly, millions of dollars as a sponsor or endorser or a partner, whatever term you want to use there, if they were to never announce it to the public? Stephen A., I'm not, I'm not a super genius when it comes to this stuff. I just know that if you're an endorser for something and neither the company nor you ever announce it, it's hard to claim plausibly that you're actually endorsing them in any way that draws to the bottom line of the business that you're allegedly endorsing. So the standard language in the CBA is always, can this be rationally explained outside of salary cap circumvention? And in the aspiration case, the answer over 11 months has been no. No one has provided an alternative explanation that makes any sense. And in this case, we've asked everybody the same questions. The Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, his new representatives, Daktronics itself, none of them have anything resembling a plausible explanation for why you would have not announced this sponsorship deal to a public that ostensibly you're trying to advertise to.
Talking to Pablo Torre right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Pablo, what kind of ramifications potentially is Kawhi Leonard facing if indeed all of this is proven to be true?
So keep in mind that the Raptors and the Clippers have a trade that they've agreed to, and that trade is frozen, of course. There was a piece of paper, I'm told, that the Raptors had put in front of them by the league office, and the piece of paper that they had to sign for this trade to go through was going to effectively indemnify both the league and the Clippers from any legal recourse or renegotiation in the event of a punishment specific to Kawhi Leonard and his contract, meaning it was buyer beware. And so the Clippers and the Raptors, the word is, of course, they're waiting for the ruling to come down. And so the first immediate impact, Stephen A., is what happens to that trade. But really, the thing that determines what happens to that trade is there a voiding of the contract, which is the biggest possible punishment the NBA could levy? And perhaps more likely, is there a suspension of some length for Kawhi Leonard? Right? It's the last deal. It's the last year of this deal. It's an expiring contract, which is what makes it kind of complicated. If you're to vaporize that deal, he becomes a free agent. And that's its own can of worms. But the immediate question is, are you going to suspend him or void the contract based on the information that cannot possibly be rationally explained outside of salary cap circumvention?
Well, vaporizing the deal is not good enough. If he's guilty of this, vaporizing the deal isn't good enough because you just leave him out there on the free agent market and somebody can gobble him up and pay him. You got to attach a suspension with that vaporization of the deal in order to make sure that ramifications are truly felt. What about on the part of the Los Angeles Clippers and Steve Ballmer specifically? What kind of ramifications potentially could he be facing?
I mean, if you believe this is the cardinal rule of the NBA, as Adam Silver says, right? That's what he said in 2019 when the Raptors and the Lakers both went to the league office, Stephen A., and they said, Uncle Dennis Robertson and Kawhi Leonard have been coming to us asking for benefits in circumvention of the salary cap. And the league office in 2019 examines it, investigates it, says nothing to see here, no evidence, but we're going to give a stern warning to Dennis Robertson. And we're going to make it so that they know this is the cardinal rule and you can't do it again. So just keep this in mind. This is not a first-time offense. In fact, 2015, DeAndre Jordan, you can look this up, Steve Ballmer gets fined, the Clippers get fined $250,000 because they try to offer DeAndre Jordan a marketing deal with Lexus, which was a team sponsor of the Clippers at the time. And that was the first instance of Steve Ballmer getting punished for cap circumvention. And so then 2019 comes around with two other separate NBA franchises calling for an investigation. And now you have Aspiration, and now you have Daktronics. And so this is not out of the sky a new thing for people to contemplate in the league office. This is a multiple alleged offender who has clearly taken the warning, according to my reporting of 2019, and done something even more vast and ambitious, allegedly. And that's the part where it's crazy. It's just crazy on that level.
You're talking about this as potentially a multi-time offender. Are you talking about Steve Ballmer, or are you talking about the manager and uncle of Kawhi Leonard, Dennis Robinson?
I am talking about both.
Mm.
Steve Ballmer, keep in mind, was the anchor investor in Aspiration. He put in $50 million and another $10 million of his own money into a company that was, in fact, a fraud. And when Steve Ballmer...
What's this?
What?
What's this?
What?
Look at this. I don't know if you can do it.